Ahoy and welcome back to day number 3 of this second Super Week on the LCO. I'm Papa Pike, we got Skimmy and Tally joining me on the desk once again, always and forever. All three of us were just so cute, the three musketeers living large and in charge. Honestly, every time I see that reel, like that highlight at the start of the whole night, I get so hyped, man. That gets my energy up way too much. It's almost a bit too concerning how excited I am, but that's okay. We're all here. We're ready to go. Let's have a quick replay of yesterday and see how our teams went.
Back to their tier 1,
Three-man
and
sleep.
that is a disgusting sleep right there. Jovi jumps on in, X-Flash follow things up with the Zenith Blade to start, and then Coley gets the kill. Kurak dead to start off this fight, and Schönfire's been slowed on down. Doraemon pops him in place, but the heal is good. And then Jovi finds access onto Lemus, who cannot simply dash across that wall with a flash.
Advantage they find, they use it to punish, and this could be another one.
Soliflo looking for it, the Abyssal Dive is cancelled, so the Devour is nice, but it's not enough, even inside that Mist and Shrouds. It's a double kill, and Evewin says, I really am Schönfire Jr., I am 4-0-1.
Free win though, free win. Wasn't hard.
It's just too easy.
Oh, no.
They get wood on. Oh no, oh no. We're about to hit the promised land of a 0-10 Yasuo. He's 1-8 so far. Stop. Zonas, you're doing too much damage. Double kill on this occasion, though, is to be picked up by Raze. You spin around when you... Oh, why is it so hard?
All right, you want another hint?
Are we done?
It's
Wait,
kinda
no
rain-
way, man! There's no way!
Like, what do you do for that?
He's now got the Infinity Edge, so this damage is just going to go absolutely through the roof, and for good reason too. He says, you know what? Flash in their face. There is that slicing Maelstrom, and there is the triple kill to continue the perfect scoreline.
I'd be more keen for the Blitzcrank with the Refury jumping on me. I'd be like, that's fine. That hurts. A Maelstrom to the face. Nah. No thanks. I'm okay. Hard pass. Yeah, I'm seeing stuff. Oh, I'm sorry, straight off the bat, right at the end there, just like, yeah, let's just throw Pike under the bus again.
Yes.
That's fine. But we're here, and just like Evelyn said, it's free wins across the board tonight. Well, maybe, Tally, because it's going to be a good night.
Yeah, I'm very excited about tonight. We get to, close off with a very important match, I think, and I can't wait to see what, because we've had this narrative. I think it started popping up in recent weeks, but it was a lot more popular yesterday. Teams are starting to play to their strengths. They're not really like conforming to the global meta. They're starting to play the champions that they believe they're much better at, and I just think we're starting to see better games overall.
Better games is what we're hoping for tonight. Well, let's have a quick look at our schedule to see what you will actually be watching tonight and who are the players we'll be talking about, as it is Mammoth versus Team Bliss to start off the night. That's going to be quite a good series, Skimmy, but then followed up by Fury Direwolves. And again, I think that's going to be the main one to watch, Skimmy.
Absolutely, yeah. That first one's a really tough ask there for Mammoth to try and contest with Bliss. So we're currently set in third, only a point behind Antic in second. So very tall order for them to try and come out with a win on that occasion there. As for Fury versus Direwolves, that's the one I'm sure we're all looking at right now. We've only a couple of points really separating 4th, 5th, as well as 6th. This would be a must-win, a draw. I mean, it would be enough to keep you in the playoffs mix, but to get that upper bracket position, a win is the must-go-to.
We'll have to see if they're going to get those wins. Again, like you said, Bliss are looking very good, sitting at the top of the ladder there with 3rd place in 1 point, like you said, behind Antic. Like, it's pretty tight up in the top end, except for Grounds, who's just like, nah, let's skyrocket, that's fine. But like you said too, Fury Direwolves, they're sort of on that cusp, right? And that's sort of the danger behind it all, is you don't know which way it's going to go. Both teams have started to show some improvements. They've had some good roster changes that have really stepped up, and we'll definitely talk about those later on. But Tally, is there any maybe roster change on, let's pick one team that you favor more than the other? We got basically Chungy or Prey.
Well, there's a lot more known when it comes to Chungy. I'm a lot more familiar with him. He is, a very good player. Can play, multiple play styles. We've seen him have success on 80 carries that merely, bruisers as well as like mages in the past. But I think Prey is a very promising rookie because he's really high on the solo queue ladder right now. I think on his debut he did really well himself. So I think that he's starting off on the right foot, and if he keeps the same trajectory, he's gonna have a very, very good career for himself.
More Aatrox is what we want, those awesome solo queues. But wait, hold on. Sorry, guys. I'm getting a call. I'm getting a call right now because, wait a second, Postman Pike's come along. It's the night. Let's get it rolling.
Is today the day luck's with you? Is it now your life could read you? Then then you must play the game, 'cause I have to proclaim life's a game of chance.
Yes, that is I coming in on my little trike, here to deliver the mail for the LCO. We got here, guys. It's week 5, and we have some fan mail ready to go. You know what? I'm just going to deep dive into the very first one, because this one sort of fits the tone of tonight too. So we'll just read it for you. Beautiful little postcard. Lovely.
Is it going? I'm nervous, man. What's going on?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, to Papa Pike, or Postman Pike, I would like to ask you and your fellow casters a very contentious question. Which state produces the best LoL players? Including New Zealand as an option, of course. It's been too long since we've had a League of Origin tournament to decide this. Thanks, Go Gadget LOL, one of our beautiful mods in chat. P.S. Love your work hosting the LCO. Oh, thank you so much. But also, League of Origins, right? What state, Tally?
Okay, so, you know, Queensland, born myself, have to rule Queensland out. You know, we're just not stacked with talent. Unfortunately, you know, it's just, you know, me and Babip up there, we're outnumbered, okay? But, you know, we gotta look at, like, New South Wales and Victoria as, like, the major, like, homegrown talents from OC. Like, there's so many big names. Like, you think in New South Wales, there's FBI, Ryoma, Swiper. Yeah, you can go down the list. There's so many good players there. Pretty sure they were our last, you know, State of Origin winners when it comes to the league iteration, and I think that I'd probably have to go New South Wales for our, you know, our strongest homegrown talent.
Okay, Skimmy. New South Wales?
Well, if I didn't say New Zealand, I probably would have my New Zealand passport ripped up, so I wouldn't be able to go home. So I'm going to have to go New Zealand. Yeah, Ray's tied for the most successful player alongside Babbitt that Telly just brought up there. I think, yeah, you could bring back the likes of Chippies. You can come back into the fold of things. You can stack that roster very, very quickly. Look, I can be like a super sub. I wouldn't even play. I'll just be there to jivvy up the boys. I'll just commentate like their solo queue games. As they get ready on stage, I'm like, come on, boys, I'm pumped, you're pumped, let's win.
To be fair, you know, New Zealand, they have your Coach Soul Strikes, they have Caster Skimmy, they have players. They've got, you know, a broad variety of talent down there. You know, it's not just players.
We've got Cupcake, we've got who else do we have? Why Not as well? Yeah, we can be stacked.
So, obviously we need to organize this, right? Like, I think we need to get a League of Origins happening, because that would just be, like, so much fun. I'd be down for that. Imagine just awesome graphics. We'll talk about it. We'll come up with something. The next letter on the block. They actually, I'm going to cover up their name, but they sent through this awesome little sticker. This little Timo Poro. Firstly, like, that's awesome. Love that. And then they hit us with the koala. Straight on it. Straight in there. Let's get a little bit of a close-up on that one.
Cinema.
Apologies for my, like, let me quickly
cinema.
read it for you. Because this came in from Mild Spice. So, dearest Papa Pike and LCO team. There's a lot of koalas. There are literally koalas drawn all over it. Like,
oh, wow.
You don't even know where the letter starts, but I love it. I met Freak at PAX Australia 2014 once and told him a pun he had already heard. I've been seeking approval ever since. I'm exactly the same. What do you call a void creature that goes to the gym? That's the joke.
Void creature that goes to the gym.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of something like quirky, but it's not coming to my brain quick enough.
Nah, be.
I'm blanking.
It's a lift herald. It's too good. Love you, LCO, Mild Spice. Thank you so much, Mild Spice. That was phenomenal. Let's go to the next one.
Dad
That was a
jokes
good
this
joke.
early on? There's no way, man.
It's too easy, man. It's too easy. Next one coming in is looking bloody good. It is actually from Animal Os. Lovely to see. So, to Papa Pike. How much wood would a pike spike if a pike could spike wood? A pike would spike as much wood as a pike would if a pike could spike wood? If a pike could spike wood, how much wood would a pike spike? A pike would spike all the wood it could if a pike could spike wood. Side note, can't wait for the Anima Squad event. From your secret admirer, Animal O's. That's the letter. It's just a full-on tongue twister that I had to practice.
I swear,
practice that.
that's like the perfect way to get warmed up for a bit of hosting, bit of casting, because you can get all the tongue twisting all out the way nice and early, and you're like, now this show's free.
It's too good. Well, I'll send that through to you. How's that sound?
Perfect.
I'll send that over.
Perfect.
We'll make a document. Guys, don't forget to send in more, but let's go to a short break as we get ready for the first series of the night. We can't wait for more of this, though. It's going to be a huge one. Mammoth versus Bliss. be around to stick around because it's just going to be so much fun. We will see you in this series.
Kevy's after becomes the Varus. Forced down on the stopwatch. It's carnage. Only triple happening here is for Phyto. Oh, it's do or die.
Ah! Sorry, I thought I saw a Mammoth. There's a bit of a relief of bliss just coming over me right now. I had to get some puns in there somehow. But yes, we're in for the first series. Skimmy looks confused. That's the aim of the game. Make Skimmy as confused as possible. Let's look at this Mammoth lineup though, Tally. They're looking okay.
Yeah, I think they're looking a bit better than okay right now. I really like that they have finally come into their own and started playing to their strengths. I think we've seen Predator swap to mid, play the mid laners in a meta where you would think that 80 carries are extremely strong. So I think it's nice to see Predator finally start playing what you would consider his strength in the 80 carries. I just think that's where he looks so comfortable. He did such a good job, individually in his last performance, but I just think we want to see more from the rest of the roster to be able to match up to the expectations of their mid laner.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. I think my prediction is potentially we probably will see double 80 carries coming from this roster too. We've seen Predator be that 80 carry monster for so long, but we can't deny Bliss. Skimmy, this team is just so big. They have a stacked roster. What are we hoping to see?
Well, I'm just really hoping that they get to show us something a little bit different as well, right? They've been experimenting week after week. You've heard from multiple occasions in their interviews that, look, we're just trying to get different ideas under our belt to get ready for the, for the playoffs. But then, obviously, once you sit and play their comfortable champions, a la Dorop on the Rakan, you just know it's a W. It's just that simple, really. Obviously, they brought out the Mordekaiser, which I thought was a nice little bit of a bit of tech coming out of them. But I'm curious to see if they also continue this trend that we've seen throughout, all these Super Weeks, last week and this one, in terms of even more spiciness. If that's going to be a case of double AD carry, or if we're to get a comp where we're going to have AP mages in the bot lane and sort of keep everybody guessing.
That's literally one of the things on my list. Is like, if it's the full AD carry, sort of like double AD carry meta, are we going to start seeing the Ziggs AP carry in this bot lane, Tally? You said it was broken, but not in pro play. Explain it to me.
No, the opposite. It sucks in solo queue. It's good in pro play. It's just it's just it's very rare that you can find a mage to be played bot who can act as this weak side and allow you support to roam. But Zig's wave clear is just so safe. You're able to farm from such a long distance. It's quite hard to zone the champion, and I think that playing a mage in bot lane means you get you allow your team to draft 80 topside, which means you should have a better early game than the enemy team, and that's how you can snowball games.
Well, we're going to have to see if it's going to be picked up, but I'm also looking at, like you mentioned too, Skimmy, Aladoric at this point. We've got a nice little head-to-head on Voice Aladoric because these two players really sort of own this space as well. Really the big initiators. You can see as well, Voice with that beautiful champion pool. The Seraphine's a nice touch, but Aladoric, Skimmy, has just been whipping everything out.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, it's been this patch or this split, right? Go for the melee supports, pair it with the center, or just be incredibly aggressive. Get out lane as quickly as you can and impact the rest of the map to try and snowball. But Aladoric says, yeah, I can play that, but it's a little bit too easy, a little bit boring. So I'm going to play some really squishy champions, be it the Ashe, all those classic enchanters, and basically say that I don't need to have that insurance policy of being a big front, tank. I can get away with being aggressive based on my own merits to sort of get it done with that Nami or even the Milio. So yeah, I'm curious. Really am curious to see how to go into this one. I would imagine Voice will stay with something pretty stable, be it the Nautilus, the Ornn, or the Leona. As he gets told by his coach, those are the only champions you're allowed to play. So probably broke the code of rules of playing that Seraphine, but Aladoric, I mean, he can literally play anything under the sun. We've seen him play like Jarvan support. He could go absolutely crazy like a carrier, play like Camille support. It'd probably be insane.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Again, there's so much up in the air right now that the meta in OS is just sort of, let's just pull out anything and see what happens. But there's one player on everyone's lips that we've just been saying, this guy is looking too good, clean, he knows what he wants, he goes for it. It's Harry. This mid laner on Bliss is an absolute destroyer on the Rift. You can just see the champion pool is looking so good, Tally, but the man is on fire.
Yeah, and I think that it's pretty easy to say that Harry's our most well-rounded player in the mid lane or even in the whole league. I think he plays all these styles extremely well, from the control mages to the I'll sit back and scale to the aggressive laners, and I think that Harry on these scaling champs that can play the early game really well, like the Corki and the Tristan, is where he is excelling. He's doing so good in his individual 1v1s that it's just creating these complete black holes on the map that are exploding for the enemy team, and he's just becoming such a problem for these teams to be able to deal with. And there are so many champs you need to think about for Harry, and it just shows in his stats of how dominant he is right now.
I think the big thing as well on the side of that is you're seeing a huge champion pool. Like you said, he's got so much diversity. We're also seeing that from the other side too. We're seeing Gudo looking pretty good. He's actually tied first for the most champions played throughout the split. So they're obviously trying to find where they're sitting on the side of Mammoth and identify what they're trying to do. Do you think we're going to start seeing a bit of an end game for them, Skimmy? Are they going to pull something together and say, this is our identity, let's run with it?
Well, I'm quite curious. I think there's a whole bunch of different ways Mammoth can look to try and approach this. They're the only team that have played the Ziggs in the bot lane, right? They did draft a very heavy AD comp to try and get the ball rolling, to try and snowball, because the key success we've seen with a Ziggs comp is if you get the Herald, if you get those Void Grubs, not only does the Satchel Charge execute those towers, it becomes 10 times easier to even get to that point where the Satchel Charge can be utilized, right? So certainly a case that I'm going for like an AP comp. Obviously, you mentioned the Kaiser in the mid lane there for Praetor. I think very much like what Fido did last night, he could go for the mid Ezreal as well. I think he's going to have to definitely look to try and bring out a little bit something special, given he's been a top performer on Mammoth, to try and contend with Harry, because really at the moment he is in a league of his own.
Nah, for sure. And there's no doubt about it. He was first place in all those stats, but we need to look at the other side. Let's take a quick chat with Voice, the support of Mammoth, joining us on the desk, who's coming to brief us about how good they're going to be playing tonight. Voice, is that a haircut? Everyone's getting haircuts.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I had to cut
It
my
looks
hair.
good,
It was
mate.
too long.
No, fair enough. I'm getting pretty close to that too, honestly. It's the 4-blade on the side's just not cutting it for me. Sad.
Tomorrow. I'll
Bad
be-
pun, yeah. Yeah. But Voice, how are you feeling for tonight's series? Are you feeling confident?
Oh, extremely. Like, looking at Harry's stats there, like, they weren't even that good. Like, first and everything, who really cares? Never even heard of any of the players on Bliss before. They're all kind of random, so hopping into it's free.
Mate, 100%. I completely agree. What, Bliss? Who are they? That's fine. But we got to ask as well, you're up against Aladoric. Have you guys been sort of prepping anything? Are you looking to maybe take the Rakan away from this man?
I don't think I should ever be allowed on that chair, but I'll be real. I'm terrible at that thing. Honestly, we've prepped for Aladoric. He plays everything, so, we've just hopped into draft prep and we're just rolling dices. So whatever dice we land on is what we're gonna pick.
Nat 20.
Hopefully. Yeah, Nat 20, man. We needed that Nat 20 instant crit. I love it. But I know Tally's got something for you, mate.
Well, first of all, hello, fellow James. Welcome. So we're finally starting to see, most of the teams in LCO conforming less to the global meta and, more so focusing in on their individual strengths, like you guys did last week, with the Seraphine support and the Kai'Sa mid. And I was surprised, like, how well you guys were doing, with such a susceptible lane. So is this still the idea for you guys going forward, or was it just like a temporary solution last week?
I had to get on my knees and beg my coach, like camera on and everything. Please, please let me play Seraphine one game, please, please, please. And then after we lost, he looked at me and said, "You're not playing anything fun ever again. Get straight back on Nautilus, straight back on Leona. No fun for you ever again." I'm like, "Please, man, just one game of scrims. I'll prove it to you." Nah. So I've played 6 games of only engaged supports this week, and that's our identity. That's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna pull it out. We're gonna get the dub.
Get the dub, whatever it takes.
Yeah, I like it.
It basically answers my question, right? Because I was asking before, like, he got that one game of Seraphine. There's no way he was allowed to play that. I swear he must have just been like, "Yeah, I can't hear you, coach. I'm slamming this one in." But I suppose my question is, going into this one, knowing how aggressive Bliss can be, especially Valadoric, right? They're going to be very aggressive in the lane to try and bully you out. Is the question, do we want to try and play something a little bit more passive, like revert back to this whole, like, center Ornn, center Nautilus style of play? Or is it almost a case of, like, let's fight fire with fire. Let's go for all this engage, like the Ashes, the Varuses, to try and give yourself that, like, that mid-game power?
I don't know, man. That bot lane, I see those nameplates and I'm like shivering, like I'm shaking the whole time, like I can't focus up. I'm begging my coach, please let me play Ornn. I don't want to fight these guys. They're too big and scary. So I'm really hoping that we come in, I can play Yuumi or something, just sit on my 80 carry and be like, "You got this, man. Get in there." And then I'm happy. But, maybe my coach is going to be like, "Let's play something aggressive. Let's lock Crab Draven." And it's like, all right, man, I've got to fight my fears.
Wow. Imagine that. That'd be a dream.
That'd be awesome. But sometimes you got to face those fears. It's the only way you get those true outcomes. But Voice, thank you so much for coming on, mate. It was great to have you here. Good luck in that series. If you just turn off names, just champion names only, you're good. Don't worry about it.
That's a good idea. I'll get to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought about that the other day. But thank you, mate. Have a good night. That's what I did. It solved a lot of my problems, actually. I'm having a blast in games now. Turn off chat. Turn off champion names. It's all good. I'm laughing. And I'm just playing League of Legends. It's fine, but still losing. Let's not worry about that. That's a different thing. But no.
They say it's not the outcome, mate. It's the journey. Enjoy the grind. And you're like, yeah. And then you just fall asleep to some, like, motivational 10-hour mix.
Yeah, just sitting there trying to vibe out. But no, Mammoth, obviously, like, they're just sort of sticking to their bread and butter. I think that's a good way to go. Like, it is going to be a tough matchup, but we know that they're planning for that. They're like, let's just stick to what we know and what we can do, and let's sit with that tally.
Yeah, absolutely. But, we are expecting that, same performance we're expecting out of Antic yesterday. We expect a very clean, series out of them because, we're so close to playoffs right now. And I think it's so important that you are starting to improve on these mistakes you had in past weeks and really solidify that you are this contender for the title. And for Mammoth, they just really have to be able to fight for those points to be able to just, scrape into playoffs if they do want to be able to contest the rest of the teams right now.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see because we actually have the superstar man himself. He got a full-page graphic. Let's get him onto the desk as well. We have Harry joining us on the desk. This man, absolute monster. Mate, I have to quickly ask, if you were watching and you saw that graphic, how does that make you feel?
Sorry, I actually didn't see the graphic, but...
put it back up, production.
Yeah,
put it back.
Yeah,
Screw the interview.
I'm sorry.
Basically, Harry, you're literally like first and everything.
Oh,
Yeah, let's get it. Here it is.
Yeah.
There you are, mate. Look, we got first, third, first. You're crushing it on all these champions. How does it feel to be basically like the star?
Yeah, I mean, it does feel pretty good. Like, I actually didn't know my stats, so I guess, like, I found out now. But, yeah, I mean, looks pretty good.
Humble man.
I'm so humble. Doesn't even have to look at stats. Just like, yeah, it's fine. We just keep upping those skills every day. That's fun. But how are you feeling in tonight? You feeling good? Like the team's feeling prepped?
Yeah, I think we're really prepped right now. Our scrims have been going pretty well, and I think the matchup will be pretty fun because I'm versing Pradev, which I haven't played him in mid before, so I think it'll be a fun matchup.
All right, Tally.
Well, Harry, firstly, I mean, congratulations on your win against Antic on Monday. Now, I need some help from you, okay? So I've been struggling to find a good, matchup into LeBlanc, since the Sun Impact change, and I want to know, what would you pick into a blind pick LeBlanc?
I think like Tristana is pretty good into LeBlanc. If you're looking at like the AP options, I think like Orianna is pretty solid. People play like Lissandra and like Vex into it as well, which are like not bad. You can like neutralize the lane, so I think those are not bad options.
So nothing fun, damn it. All right,
Yeah.
back to being a team player.
Damn. Brutal. Skimmy?
Well, yeah, my question to you, Harry, obviously is that you've been incredibly versatile with your champion pool this split. We're playing the Assassins, the AD carries, the Control Mages, the Burst Mages, whatever it may be. Obviously, you've got a fairly big repertoire of champions in your competitive history. So how deep do you want to try and flex? Or is it now really a case of this is a matchup where we should be heavily favored? Give me my my best champion, give me a matchup where I can be comfortable, continue to display those stats that we just saw before.
Yeah, I think going into today's matchup, I do think we are pretty heavily favored, and I think the mid meta is just like you can kind of just pick early, and like I don't think mid counter picks matter too much right now in the meta. So it's just I think it's just better you pick early, and then like the champions are like usually like high damage champions. Like I think like Tristana, Corki are like heavily meta right now. So yeah, I think it is a pretty good meta for like the mid laners to like carry, I guess.
So what I'm saying then is, when are we going to get like your mid Aurelia or something crazy like a mid Lee Sin? When are we going to get super spicy and be like, you're just not ready for this?
Yeah, I mean, I did miss that meta. I think the mid Lee Sin and like when you can play like Aurelia and stuff, like that meta was really fun. In saying that, like Lee Sin did get a buff on the life patch, so maybe like I don't know, maybe lane Lee Sin might come back. It might be a thing. Like we'll see.
Ooh, this is good news.
That led me into my final question to round it all over. Is that we've been seeing so many random spicy picks. Has Bliss been playing with anything that we might need to know about? Can you prep me?
I don't think we have like we don't have like anything like too spicy. Like I've seen like I saw like some I think it was Chirp playing like the free mid. I think like we don't have like those kind of champions ready, but I do think like our champion pools are very big, so like we all have like a wide range of champions we can all play.
I'm just waiting for you, especially you, to see that they're going to pick like the Ezreal or like the Tristana mid, and you're going to pull a caps on us and pick Vayne mid to counter it and just be like, nah, trust me, coach, I got this. And that's all I want to see, but we'll have to wait and see. But Harry, thank you so much for coming on, mate.
Yeah.
Always enjoy having you. Good luck tonight.
Yeah. Alright, thank you guys.
I want that. That's all I want, just a replay of that. Don't worry about caps. LEC, sorry guys, push you aside. LCO. Better.
That's what we need. I love it when the players themselves have got like their recorded POV and they upload it with the comms, and you just like hear like it was like a crazy play, like a quadro or like a pentakill gets denied or whatever, and you just hear their comms and everyone's just like screaming, and you're like, this just makes it just like 10 times better now with context.
And then you just have Incursio at the end of the game being like, what was that? Just like raging at his team.
Why did you feed?
It's so funny when you watch like the best team in the world and their comms just like, up, going in, hook in 3. Nice. And then O's is just like, what are you doing? Kill him, kill him.
Just
We're talking about that.
Comms are flooded.
Yeah, you can't even catch it. Let's have a look at the side select for these teams. Let's see what they want to be picking up on the Rift today. Mammoth sticking to their colors true, going for red side, and Bliss looking good on blue side. Pretty. Maybe did we expect that, Tally?
Yeah, I think that it's telling that all the top teams in our league keep picking blue over and over and over. I think they all believe this is the best side. They always have priorities. Whereas, what we'd consider the weaker team, they really want to get red side to secure better matchups for themselves, because that's more important about getting through the early game, being able to solidify yourself in a position in the mid game dragon fights, because you have winning side lanes, or you might have a counter pick and support which secured you the early game.
Yeah. Well, on that note, don't forget to get your Twitch channel points in, ladies and gentlemen. That was too basic. I can't do that. Get those Twitch channel points in there, ladies and gentlemen. Up there. Pop them in. That's what you want to do. It's time to stack those points. Get them in. But while we're talking about points, let's look at our predictions below and see what we've all decided is going to be our bread and butter. Yeah, I think everyone saw that coming, right, Skimmy?
Yeah. I'd imagine this be a pretty unanimous decision. I'd be very curious to see if Twitch chat tries to go really against the grain, but I would say these are pretty heavily favored odds, like 80-20, 90-10. Like, yeah, I'd be expecting very much like what we saw from Antic last night, a case of them going in, getting the job done, focusing on that final week, right, to close out their Super Weeks.
Yeah, well, final Super Week. Game's ready to go, guys. I'm just going to go have some food. You guys have some fun.
Beauty. Well, whilst you get fed, we'll get interested in what is taking place here in the draft. With the center removed, that possibility of a center on is going to be denied there for the bot lane of Mammoth, but they're going to open up here with a first pick Rumble.
Yeah, and I think this is quite similar to Antic Skimmy, where they have this really high priority on Rumble because, you know, both junglers from Bliss and Antic do like to play these AD bruises in the early game, and, you know, having that solo EP option means there's more draft variety for the mid laners of both teams, and I just think that, you know, potentially leaving this champ up against these rosters is a mistake and it's quite hard to draft around.
Yeah, it is a bit of a knife gauntlet as to, are you comfortable with this one or are you not? The Ornn goes up, they lock in Leona as well, like, hang on a minute, this is not a flex, forget about it. We just want really strong champions that allow us to have a front line and give us a solid source of that engage.
Skimmy, okay, you know what I want to see? Okay, this is the popularity, or like the common theme we're seeing a lot is these like tanks being picked so early in the draft. Like, I want to start seeing the tank bosses come out. The Kog'Maws, the Vaynes, they need to start coming back in.
Yes.
They are so strong as these champions. You know, pair like a Kog'Maw with the Braum or even the Enchanters, you can get through lane fight and you will just do so much damage to these tanks in the mid game. Even the Vayne, another option, someone who can be played into top in these tanks as well. I just think it adds a lot more, you know, threat to the enemy team to think about these kind of champs in the draft.
Well, we've been singing and it's almost like begging at times, like just draft more engaged. Stop making these comps too convoluted. We're like, oh guys, we're going to get the perfect 1-3-1 here. Oh, sorry guys, they're being picked apart. Our entire comp just falls on down. Certainly would love to see them invest more into those aggressive picks and showcase their mechanical prowess. But what is interesting to note is that Vi's been pretty much perma-banned these last few weeks, haven't they? And been let through the cracks, and a clear indication that Mammoth, you're going to be building around one individual carry, and we can look to lock that down very, very easily.
Yeah, and I think that Vi Rumble is, you know, it's kind of a god comp. If you draft one threat as Mammoth that only has, you know, their major threat right now in the Corki, they can ban out any other, you know, threats they think that would be hard to deal with as the Vi with the Assault and Battery. And now all of a sudden they have an easy engage tool. Pair that up with the Rumble ulti, pair that up with, you know, the Kai Salt coming out of Violet. There is so much threat onto your backline, and your frontline cannot do much about that.
Certainly cannot, and it's an interesting occasion here to see that LeBlanc taken away from Harry, one of his premier champions. The Nautilus denied too, having already locked in the two best supportive champions in that aspect. And then really a lot of focus from Bliss to say, well, we want to put attention towards Predator, but at the same time, we need to prevent Goodo from having too much fun as well. The Morgana as well. This is almost like we're building a Dire Wolves-esque comp, right? Protect one president.
Now, this is actually... Okay, so this Morgana will be slotting into the jungle. I'm almost certain about that. Very good answer to the Vi. You know, the Black Shield really counters the Assault and Battery. It denies the engage. Morgana's really good at versing these dive comps, you know, especially melee champs like the Yone, like the Vi, like the Rumble. So I think this is like a... This is like a very, very good counter pick. You know, we don't really think about League of Legends about having like, oh, there's a champ in the game that will just, you know, GG the draft. But if this was like, you know, even playing field in terms of skill, I think that Morgana is quite a GG draft pick here.
Interesting how we do go around and, you know, we return back to a meta where that was the go-to, which is Morgana Rumble in the jungle all day, every single day. And with a lot of those engaging supports being removed, it's going to be Rel that Alidoric defaults to round out their comp. And as to be expected, you've got two AD carries, you've got all the frontline, you've got an abundance of CC. I'd imagine Mammoth would be yeah, pretty happy with what they've locked in.
The one, you know, nice thing about the Rumble in this comp, even though they do have the denial from the Black Shield to, you know, play around the engage, is that the Rumble ult can blow up this Black Shield, especially in the earlier parts of the game when there's only 1 point into that shield. It's not going to be insanely big, even with, you know, Goodo having a bunch of AP on the Morgana jungle. He himself can be a threat if he does, you know, throw it into someone else. And since there are multiple engage tools coming from Bliss, there's only one answer coming out of Mammoth. You know, from this comp that we see, they don't have multiple tools to deal with multiple engage, multiple flanks, and that is, you know, one of the good things about the Bliss comp right now.
Certainly is one of the good things about it. They've got the aggressive tools behind them. They back themselves on the mechanical aspects. But do they have enough to try and overcome the composition that Mammoth have put together to at least even the you know, the differences between these two teams? Right, we've always been screaming, if the comp or if the opponent you're up against is that much better than you, make it as easy as possible to try and answer back. You mentioned already with the Morgana denying a lot of this hard engage, but if they can find a layer of stability, if you know, if Predator doesn't fall too far behind on this Corki, they're going to be a very scary prospect, not only for the team fights but also for those objectives where usually the lesser side tends to fall behind. One interesting point that Pike's already found out for us is that the last time this Morgana was played, actually played by Corporal, and that was 2 years ago. a very long time ago, back when that was being flexed between the support and the jungle roles. So nice to see it back in action, and hopefully, Tally, it impresses.
Yeah, and actually, funnily enough, Skimmy, the game before Corporal was Goodo, so, he's the second last person to play this Morgana, and it wasn't the jungle, so he's, quite familiar with the pick, and, you were mentioning about how they're going to be able to navigate this game with the drafts they have. I think that Bliss doesn't really have a, clear way to snowball this game. They don't really have the ability to invade level 1, they don't have a necessarily stronger level 1. Their lanes aren't insanely heavily one-sided. I would give Biopanther the edge and Harry in his direct 1v1 the edge, because I don't think there's a lot of gank pressure coming out of Goodo, especially, with the Yone, since he can buffer the CC and always escapes not much CC from prey. So it's going to be a lot of farming happening in this game, and it will come down to player skill if Bliss are able to get these advantages in the early game.
Well, let's waste no more time then. Let's load ourselves back into Summoner's Rift for day 3, the final day of Super League action before we really come to that final conclusion in week 6, leading towards those playoffs. Team Bliss right now still looking to try and get as many points as possible to guarantee that upper bracket position. As for Mammoth, so close, hanging down in 7th. Only a point separating them between making the playoffs as it stands right now. Anything that could be taken away today would certainly make their life so much easier.
Yeah, this is definitely a do or die situation for Mammoth. They need to start picking up these points, even if it's only one. If they do go for the draws, every point will count for them to be able to qualify for the playoffs coming up, as they are in such, close contention with the likes of Fury and Direwolves, quite a bit far behind Ion on the 4th place, but it's still doable for them. Kevi going for the early award means they're going to be able to see Goodo starting on the Raptors, which, what you want to do most of the time on these full clear champs, because you can cycle all your camps, and then before your first reset, you can re-clear your top 2 camps, which can secure you that really nice first buy.
Well, that is what I'm curious about as we start off this game, right? What are the junglers' intentions? I'll be looking to try and rush to level 6 as quickly as we can to have that full power unlocked. Obviously, it really allows the Divide that much more lockdown potential. Same could be said then for the Morgana, having that extra layer of CC to link up with that Dark Binding. But as it stands, bot lane will be the focus, and Gunkrab on a very mobile champion as we continue to go towards that trend of forgetting about Ashes and Varuses. It's going to be a case of who can be more nimble, be it the Kaiser or that Zeri.
Yeah, we're starting to see a lot more priority on those mobile champions, as you were saying in our yesterday's games, that you really like to see more mobility, maybe staying away from Aphelios' Jinxes, because there just seems to be so much engage and so much damage coming out of the game, and you need to be quite a bit self-sustainable in these fights. And as you mentioned, Team Bliss are looking to create some volatility in the early game, because Kevi would like to find an early gank angle if he can. He will not be able to clear at the same speed as Goodo as the game goes on. Mages, as they start picking up their items, will always be able to clear the jungle a bit faster, but Kevi's strength is his gank pressure.
It certainly is, right? And I'm sure that's what we're going to be looking to try and lean into very heavily to give them an advantage and to try and break up the monotony, I suppose, of just, heavy farming. Because as fun as that can be, and as fed as you can get, people just want to see a little bit of action. We say the word for Kevi, he disconnects from the game, bit of a tragedy on that account, but hopefully he's back in a heartbeat. We don't want to be sticking around here for too long, but look, Tony, maybe this is a blessing in disguise. Let's get all the pauses out super early on in the day, and in the rest of the night, it'll be, plain sailing.
Yeah, absolutely clean sailing after this pause. I heard it from the script writers. It's all clean. It's just it's got to get the first pause out of the way. It's just an Oceanic classic. Have to have at least one every single night. But talk more about the comps. I really like, we're seeing a lot more stability coming out of these teams, close together players. We aren't seeing, in recent, not recent weeks, but more so at the beginning of the split, we were seeing a lot of, range champs and volatility and just much harder drafts to execute. As we do get closer to playoffs, as I was mentioning, we get to see more melee champs come out, and I just think, when we start having more engage, it's just more, ease of execution and the ability to punish, missteps happening from the enemy teams.
Yeah, I mean, that refinement really is what we're getting at, right? Multiple games, scrims, getting to the flow of things. You've got regions to draw inspiration from, and obviously the ability to play around on multiple accounts to understand what does and does not work, with those new patches being in anticipation. And I'm sure that's sort of what all these players are looking towards, right? You also heard from Schoenfire last night with the new patch coming in place for playoffs. A chance to get ahead on that theory crafting curve and figure out what can I practice now to really garner that edge. Speaking of those two junglers then, as to be expected, Goodo continues to farm up a Storm, but Goodo, rather Kevi, with level 3 and double buff, goes to the flash to be matched. Everybody comes together And the Yone gets that first blood.
And this is the strength of the, the new iteration of Yone with that fleet footwork. He has so much sustain in the early game. He's going to be able to trade, evenly with Predator. Predator doesn't have that same amount of sustain, so he gets to heal back up from, a 50-50 trade. Play for that dive onto Predator. And just a really nice flash by Kevy. Predator doesn't have enough mana for the Valkyrie, and that means that he falls down.
Uh-oh, let's see though if Harry gets punished a bit of this one. Soul unbound, snaps it back, Binding going out, sidesteps it, slow projectile, and from a distance, plenty of time then for Harry to respond. Kevy went for a little bit of counter jungling, but noticing that Gudo was there, does decide to turn around in the end. And they do get away with murder. Bivemva meanwhile topside, showcasing why he wanted this rumble so much, flash for flash. That overheated auto was so much damage, but he just needed one more.
Yeah, we see Reneko will stay around. He wants to be able to eat this wave. Knows that Kevy shouldn't be on the map here, but Kevy's camps did start topside, so he's going to run back to the side of the map. If he does stay around, that might mean him getting dove.
Every single lane now taking an opportunity to try and get aggressive, all going the way of Bliss. Fantastic summoner heal, saving a life for Gungrab. Absolutely clutch there and denying yet another kill. Really small margins at this point of the game here, Tally. But certainly making it that much more volatile, feeding to your point beforehand and making it so perfect for once Kevy ticks over to level 6.
Yeah, and Gunkrab should feel quite scared here. I think Eldoric will feel quite comfortable going for a 1-for-1 here on the dive.
We're going to go for it. Drake will jump straight into the back line there. It's going to be both AD carries that pick up the kill, but Voice answers back. The dive goes really sideways. Major overfall, so Mammoth find a W.
Yeah, and that's just a really nice outcome for Mammoth based on the fact that Gunkrab lost double sums earlier. Now Violet also down his double sums, so there isn't really necessarily an advantage for them in the 2v2. And, with the Gunkrab finding those tier 2 boosts, going to do a much nicer job navigating, avoiding Eldoric's engage for the rest of this laning phase.
I suppose it's also worth mentioning as well for the sake of Biofan, but another game now we've actually seen of a Rumble being played without that combat summon of Bit the Ignite. More and more teams valuing that macro pressure, saying that I can just win this matchup even without having the Ignite to try and cheese things across. So we'll have to see just how meticulous they can use that one, as Predator yet again is under so much pressure. When does he get to press Valkyrie? Has it already happened? Does Rail pick up the kill? Of course Aladoric does, but does he die to the damage from this turret? No, the CC not enough. Especially when he's got full HP.
Yeah, and this is the strength of, the Yone into these AD carries in mid. They just aren't that strong in the early game, especially the Cork. We're used to seeing the Tristana being able to trade a bit more aggressively back into Yone, but he gets his first base, gets the tier 2 boost, which is like the main power spike for these, Wind brothers, and pairing that versus the tier coming out of Corki, Predator is so weak, and that's why we see Corki's really going for these, Ninja Tabby rushes, Ruby Crystals, and just playing a much more scaling oriented build.
Yeah, I suppose the silver lining for the side of Mammoth is that their bot lane did get those kills beforehand. They've managed to zone away Violet for a fair portion of that wave as well. And that does allow them to continue to be proactive on their own terms. So they can say we can draw 4 members into the area and we can go for a very early first Drake spawn.
He's that Timmy. He's that just trading objectives, but we are looking at the top lane health values here, and this could mean lights out for Reneko. Doesn't have the flash. He's going to have to throw his ult out really early if he wants to be able to outplay this.
Equalizer, Harpoon 1, Harpoon 2, Flame Spitter there, and Kevy comes across and says, oh, I just want a bit of an assist goal, picks up the killing blow, and now they can take a fair chunk of these turret plates as well, and ensure that this Rumble really will run the objective game. Meanwhile, Gudo, hot off that engage, is looking for a recall, then sees that Eldoric decides to pounce upon, goes for the Ignite, drops Gunkrab low. Violet is the focus, and Violet will be the one falling on down. With no flash available, Eldoric is a sitting duck. And Gunkrab, man, I mean, this is twice now. He's been the fantastic bait to get all this action.
Yeah, and we're seeing the same mistake from both teams, Skimmy. Reneko being a bit too aggressive when his jungler isn't near means he falls down. You're trading with Biopanther when he should be really valuing his health pool so he can avoid that dive. And then on the other side of the map, no jungler for Bliss. Aladoric goes forward, initiates the engage, and it's just a very easy gank for Gudo with the flash, using the ult, and just picking up an easy 2 kills for his bot lane.
Easy as that. Both those carries then going to be feeling pretty happy about this one. Curious to see what build comes out of Gunkrab, whether or not it'll be this Static Shiv Runons that we've come to know and love, where it just offers you so much control on the map to ping between those lanes and really allow you to have that constant threat on the map that, where's this Morgana, where's this Leona, where are they going to look to try and attack us from, especially when the objectives become the major focus. But as it stands, still, Team Bliss very much in control. some sizable CS leads to talk about. Does allow them to be up by 1,000 gold.
Yeah, it's just the laning prowess we keep talking about when it comes to Bliss. They have the really I would say a very hard winning top lane matchup for Bai now. You know, foregoing the Sorcerer Shoes to get these Leandries as fast as possible because he wants to really maximize that damage he's going to do Renekton in the 1v1 since he is a tank. And Harry is going to be very comfortable in this lane. And, you know, we think about both these lanes and how it's going to function going into the future, going into the mid game. Once again, Bliss going to have 2 winning side lanes. They're going to have the hard engage tools from multiple members, and they're going to have a lot of options to be able to play this game now.
Which makes it so difficult then for Mammoth as to what is our best decision going forward. Do we look to always group up as 5 and try and draw Bliss away from these side lanes, or do we entertain those side lane threats and say, well, we're weak in the early phase, and we just want to try and hold our own and sort of like, you know, soften the blow as to how strong you can be pushing in those towers a little bit later on, because you can see what's happening to Renekton right now. Yeah, you can talk about those ornaments, but he's so far away. But Aladoric's not. He jumps in, followed up by the Killer Instinct, and that 2-man Magnet Storm really does get the party started yet again. And then phenomenal Summoner Heal, and they save voice once more.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter how well your comp functions the enemy. When Aladoric flashes on your head and blows up your main carry, you know, Goodo falls down before he can even do anything. I thought the invade looked, you know, questionable by Bliss. They were showing on vision the claps coming out of multiple members from Mammoth, but Bliss just pulled the trigger, find that little bit, little avenue, little window to really abuse the fact the team was split up, and they get 2 easy kills.
Well, much like the Rail kit, there is no tilt to be found here in that bot lane. Able to make sure that they can answer back with a vengeance and continue to be as aggressive as they are, despite the KDA not looking as pretty as they would be used to. Still very much relentless in the mid lane as Brave just tries to hold his own with Goodo there to protect. But it's always looking, where's this Rail? Because wherever it is, we're in trouble.
Yeah, I think this might have been blind. He just had an inkling where they were. He saw them walk around the wall just a little bit from Kevy, and he just pulls the trigger straight away, and it's just a really nice engage. If Goodo's engaged on like that, Eldor can use the spear to, you know, shatter the Morgana Black Shield and deny that CC denial coming out of his champion.
Absolutely, right? And you see just the ability for them to not only, you know, go with the Magnet Storm, but then the Yone ult, the Bai ult. Very hard to try and outplay that one, especially if Flash or any kind of mobility is not up and available. Goodo certainly has his work cut out for him as to when do I use that Black Shield and where do I need to be. Constantly hovering these lanes, and it does afford Kevy the luxury to basically say, I got the first 3 grubs, I'll get the next few as well. And that side lane question once more becomes that much harder to try and answer back to.
Yeah, Bliss had an inkling that something was going on. Kevy's getting a free objective top side, so this time they are going to respect the jungler being there. You know, give the push in the lane, and Goodo's forced to recall because you can't really find anything there. Going to give up 6 grubs to Team Bliss, and this is going to be so scary for that team, especially if Violet finds a low time with this turret. He's going to pick up so many plates. Fire constantly getting pride on top lane. Harry's going to eventually get to the point where he can start hitting towers in the 1v1. And it's just going to be a lot of gold going over to Bliss.
It's going to be far too much gold. We're still another full 3 minutes of these plates remaining. This pressure just continues to ramp up against them. And I mean, at this point, given the health deficit in the mid lane, you're happy enough not even getting the kill. You forced him back to the fountain. He's got no teleport, so you get to continue your gold as well as your XP lead, and then get even more turret plates as well thereafter. By the focus, sidesteps on that Call of the Forge God, Lightning Crash is met, drops the equalizer, but the Solar Flare Sun just a little bit hotter, and it well, gets the kill in the end in a 1v4.
Yeah, 3 ults out of the enemy, and once again, I keep talking about the 6 scrubs will be on Bliss side, and they are committing to one side of the map, which means Violet going to push this wave, going to hit the turret. He's going to get 4 plates for himself, which is going to be so big. Dragon going over to Bliss as well. Going to see if Bayer does teleport back to the top lane, because there are no ults coming out of the Mammoth members, and I think he might be able to hold this turret.
Certainly seems to be the case right now as Aladoric just hangs out of vision, just waiting to try and see who would show up to that party. They still are very much relentlessly locked into playing this top half of the map. Kevy's been drawn down now and says, well, we're not allowing Renekton to have any fun on this occasion, so he looks to try and buffer away. Bellow's Breath there to cancel at the CC, but the Magnet Storm to follow means that you cannot escape our grasp. And he won't even look to try and find one of those grass stacks as he falls down in a heartbeat.
Yeah, easy as that. You know, Bio is respecting the fact they still do have the Morgana ult. Paired that with Boyce being able to tank the turret, it's quite hard to defend, so he's just covering the mid wave as Harry did base. So Harry's going to catch the top wave after the turret falls on his base timing, so now he has his 1-iron power spike. He wants to go to the side lane. He wants to be able to find these members from Mammoth in the 1v1 and really abuse his champion strengths right now.
And it's always interesting to me, right, when you have Violet up against Gun Crab, 2, you know, storied individuals at once upon a time sharing game time on the likes of, you know, AV. Then they became teammates, with Gun Crab being a supportive partner for him. And then they go full circle and find themselves back in an 80 carry matchup on opposite teams. So the lore between these two, they certainly had their fair share of time spent together. And it's going to be not only a battle on who can win for the points in the grand scheme of things, but I'm sure one of personal pride too.
Yeah, and this is the first time we're seeing Gunkrab have a good early game. Well, Gunkrab in Voice, finally having a good early game. We talk about how they keep playing these scaling. Bot lane is not really playing for the lane so much, but this is the first time they've locked in the strong Leona, pair that with a mobile 80 carry, and Gunkrab just looks much better, much more comfortable, and he is leading the gold by such a huge margin, even when Violet did get those, 3 or 4 solo plates to himself.
Absolutely, it's phenomenal to see, right? Because when you look at their statistics across this split, it's been a very rough one for them. Stability certainly has been the keyword that we've been putting as a label towards them, because the likes of both Gunkrab and Voice have some of the most deaths in this league, been punished, been fallen behind, and made it very difficult for the rest of the team to try and pick up that slack. But on this occasion, as you say, they are the most fed members in the game. And if the Zeri can hit that second item with that Runans, then it's going to be so much easier for them to try and conduct what they do next.
Curious to see how aggressive Mammoth wants to be if they do recognize Kevy is not here. He's going to throw on the top side soon. 4 members are on the bot side, and this could mean, the Bliss bot lane needs to get this tower, and if they decide to contest or walk into the vision, it could be very dangerous for them.
Yeah, right now you can see them getting completely zoned away out of their own jungle. Very scary times for them. Who goes for the face check? Violet instantly cleanses out of that one, so that's the binding into the solar flare. Nothing sticking. Kill pressure has certainly fizzled on out. But all this time of them roaming as that death squad just gives Kevy so much freedom and opportunity to take basically anything on the map.
Yeah, we keep seeing Kevy, every time it's going to be pretty much an easy solo kill for Harry. He has the blade against, magic resist on quite a one-sided matchup on the side lane. So what I'm going to talk about when it comes to how strong these side lanes will be. Biopanther deciding not to, go to bot lane and throw down the equalizer. He's going to play with his team, focus on being this, 2-lane squad, and be a foot on the, foot on the pedal and use the aggression rather than, playing the weak side champion.
That is that side lane concern that you mentioned, because not only is it Harry with 6 scrubs looking to try and take this one down ever so effortlessly, but with Kevy being afforded the chance to hop into the Herald, they summon a second wave of minions with the Void Mites getting rowdy as well. And then they say, you know what, we have an Eladoric, so they just pounce upon again, snap engage with the Magnet Storm, and instantly take out the Morgana. That's the one you need to be aware of. But Voice, how many times now has he got away on a sliver of health?
Yeah, he should just not be living there, but they're giving respect to Gunkrab. He does have the ult going. He can do a lot of damage, especially with the flash being available. They got what they wanted. They blew the flash. They killed the Morgana. Once again, Gudo not reacting to the engage out of Eldoric. He's just a bit too fast on the trigger finger, and he just takes him down. That's the power of the Rel into the Morgana, is you can deny the Black Shield and CC chain the Morgana yourself, which just really allows Kevy to be unleashed in these fights.
Let's run it back one more time here, as they have initially recalled on Vision, clear it on out, but that time being spent to clear the wall just gave Eladoric all the time to say, yep, it's our signal to go.
Yeah, and this is that. I think the equalizer from Bio is the main reason why this fight looked so one-sided for Bliss. Gunkrab couldn't walk over that one and get in there and do all the damage that he has in his inventory. So it's just really well played by Bliss to engage and disengage really well as a core.
Well, worth noting though, at the 16-minute mark, it is Hayreet that's already got those 2 items complete, but as we saw before from that overall gold graph, it's Gunkrab still keeping up pace with him. He's hit that Runan's Hurricane, so certainly now the Zeri is what you would say at near best so early on. So much wave clear, so much passive cleave when these fights break out, especially on a clumped up occasion. And I do wonder if Mammoth have enough threat to try and cause Bliss to split away from these lanes and say, yeah, we'll look at you for this next Drake. We'll contest you for when that Baron's up.
I don't really expect the game dynamic to really change until Gudo does find the Zhonya's. He is constantly being engaged on, and if he has to flash out of these fights, his champion is not really going to do anything besides just provide the Black Shield for Gunkrab or Praetor. I think when he does finally pick up the Zhonya's as a second, he does want to go there for a second item. If he doesn't, it's going to be a long time before these Mammoth members should feel comfortable to teamfight, because there's going to be collecting farms, scaling up, but that's not such a bad thing for the roster. There is so much scaling on this team. They need to wait for the Ornn levels to come through for the ornaments. They need to wait for the, the Corki power spike. We talk about like those 3 items when he really comes online, especially with the mana immune. He's going to be doing a lot of damage with his poke from such a safe distance.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Praetor many times now, a bit of an aficionado when it comes to trying to hit those waves and saying, team, just play safe. I'm playing my own game right now. As you can see him in top lane, nobody there to try and answer back. He just wants to vacuum up as much as he can find and really rush towards that 2-3 item spike to make sure that scaling is a conversation and not just a buzzword that we drop on cooldown. But either way, 18 minutes in, it is Bliss that are quite comfortably up in the lead with 4,000 to their name.
Yeah, and Mammoth should feel pretty comfortable with you know, every lane besides Harry. They can manage, they can get Prior in mid lane, they can manage the Bio Panther side lane, but Harry is such a threat, you know, against anyone who matches him. Kradeath and Renekton do not have the tools to be able to deal with this Yone, especially when he can constantly just keep trading his health for some damage on the turret, sustain it back up with the blade. Has enough damage and survivability to be able to escape ganks or trade 1-for-1. I just think he's a big threat. This team needs to, you know, try and figure out the correct answer for it now.
I want to mention some of the, frustration or the nuance in terms of how do you lock down this Yone, right? He hits the soul on bound, he snaps it back, cancels out all that CC, and you just go, hang on a minute. Why did we commit 3 ultimates to this champion when it can cleanse it on a basic ability? So it doesn't feel the best. But I suppose when we talk about objectives, is there a world in which you think Team Bliss, being as strong as they are, would say, let's do the Baron dance, let's entertain the idea?
Oh, absolutely. I think that there are windows where Harry can force multiple members to go to the bot side, as Engage is coming out of you know, Team Bliss already, and that is Guncribe going down so easily, Skimmy.
Yeah, very, very easily. He went for the flash, but Kevy covers so much ground, even just with the basic punch flash. It got the job started, and Violet wastes no time to pounce upon his prey. Finds a very easy double kill. And we talk about how strong the Zeri is. Well, the Kaiser is working his way towards that point of power too.
Yeah, and that's just how easy it is to engage. Bliss recognizes Mammoth members are split. Guncribe up on the midway for no reason. There is no contest happening right now. There's no objectives to really play around. And, you know, they might even go for the re and dive right now, and Kradeath could be in trouble.
Ooh, very lucky though, because the Shedding Strike didn't connect, but Adadork drops the aggro, the tower falls on down. Kevy goes back in! Oh, so close though with the ultimate out of Gudo. He might die as a result of Rogue's to try and facilitate that play. Harry rocks up and says, I'm the most fed one. You must take note of me. He finds a double, the Void Ticket connects. Renekton under threat, Pull of the Forge God knocks them up. But that's about all that will happen. Guncribe straight out of the base, looking at one target and one target only, and just peppers them down with so much damage. He found literally everything and more, and only to be disrupted by, once again, this pesky Yone, who is the sole survivor on this occasion.
Yeah, Guncribe finds 3 members. Violet lives there with a sliver of health, so he doesn't get the Quadra. How soon can he get his Infinity Edge? Because, you know, this is the saving grace of this game. Because look how easy it is for Bliss to walk around as 3 and just, you know, play so aggressive and abuse these dives. You know, don't even have all of the engaged. Aldorf disengaged himself, but they're still going forward. Still abusing this, and this is what I talk about with the side lane priority, Skimmy. They can just collapse and really abuse numbers advantage whenever they want, and Mammoth always needs to be thinking about where are the TP flanks, where are these side laners at, because there's just so much damage coming out of these flanks.
And it feels rough for them, right, in terms of you know, asserting a bit of a vision line. Where do we want to go? Do we want to still be planting it towards the objectives themselves, or do we need to really push back, drop deep, and understand that, yeah, because they control top and bot, mid isn't as safe as it usually would be, because you just saw how easy it was for the Yone to crash your wave topside, have that passively pushed to put some base pressure on, and say, yeah, mid lane, that's an easy point for us to get even more of a gold lead. That 4K lead very quickly then grows to 6.
Yeah, and okay, Guncribe does pick up his Infinity Edge, and a lot of people would think, oh, you know, the AD carry is stronger than the enemy AD carry, why can't he get priority on with midway? Well, in competitive, the map is a lot more important than just the individual lane. Guncribe shouldn't feel too comfortable, you know, getting the priority in the 2v2 or 3v3 against Violet, because his side laners are much weaker than, you know, the enemies. And if they do collapse and use those numbers like they are right now, hovering around mid with multiple members, Harry with the TP in the back pocket, these fights can always be so valuable for Bliss.
Definitely could stand off there with the binding not connecting on the target thereafter. It makes it difficult for Voice to say, do I actually commit to this or not? You can see those are the bruises. That's what we're not interested in. If it's a carry, it's all guns blazing. Go, go, go is the com. But held in this suspension of a 4 versus 1 split. They say, well, we'll go for the Baron. You can chase after this Yone, but good luck trying to shut him down. He's 5-0. He'll entertain this 1v2. You're confused as to do we go for this fight or not. The flash out of the ultimate. The blood shield popped. And he's going to look to try and do as much as he can. Well, one final bit! Oh, so close! So close! But can Bliss salvage it elsewhere? Yes, they most certainly can. They wipe the floor with the 3 members of Mammoth that look to investigate the purple worm.
Yeah, we're going to have to catch a replay about how exactly they fought out Guncribe. You know, was it Aldoric? Was it Kevy with the engage? I think they had the tools with the Black Shield to be able to walk into that Baron. You know, as we do go into the replay, the members walking up, Aldork sitting on the flank, and he probably just finds a really nice angle onto Guncribe, and once again, shatters the Black Shield, which means he's going to get CC'd, and he cannot do the damage he needs to carry this fight.
No, real unfortunate there, completely counted from a 5th pick, you'd say, on the blue side. that has really brought it all crumbling on down. Greedy are Bliss to say we go from the Baron to the Dragon. Can we steal this 108? No, we cannot. But it will be a fight still that favors Bliss, as they were all in on that objective. Nice Void Seeker for Violet to get in amongst the chaos, and the Hex Gates to cover so much ground to make sure that these kill times, down for 30 seconds, they're going to get so much done on the map.
Oh, they do get the Dragon, which means they buy themselves some time scheme. You look at Bliss's comp, they're not necessarily really good at sieging. They can't, break the base comfortably. It's going to have to come from a dive, and you all know how scary it can be diving these inners, diving these inhibitor turrets. If you misplay, Gungrab especially can take over these fights, and I think that they shouldn't really lose too much from this Baron buff itself. Probably, one inhibitor or all their, its last standing inner towers, and I think they aren't too unhappy with this game state, only losing this much.
All it takes, though, Tally, will be one more kill. Somebody going down for another 40 seconds, be it that gun grab or Braidef, and I think suddenly you think, yeah, we can look to try and end the game with those 6 stacks of the Void Grubs. They look towards Harry. That's not the focus, because then Kevy answers back. Their retaliation is stronger, their damage is better, and their ability to find the right target at the right time is just that much more clutch. And they've taken down 4 members, and that one inhibitor that we were initially thinking very quickly is about to come to.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're doing, Skimmy. They decide to progress. Guro uses the Black Shield on himself, solo ults Aladoric, and the moment Kevy recognizes that the Black Shield is down and not used on Guncrab, even though he has double summoners, he cannot outplay the Assault and Battery, and he goes down, and the moment Guncrab dies, he can't do anything, and have to see, will Guro be able to hold this with, not so much left in his kit?
Kevy nearly dies to those Tormented Soils, but it's not to be. They forget their second inhibitor. They say, we found the Pex, you've got no wave click, you've got no chance to defend. And in 24 minutes, they assert dominance, as to be expected, in our first game of the night.
Yeah, and we talked about there wasn't really that, easy way for Bliss to be able to get ahead besides their player skill, and, they showed it this game. They showed the absolute player domination and player gap in multiple lanes this game, and just did such a good job in these skirmishes in the jungle and just snowballing their lead to an easy win.
A fairly convincing win overall. Certainly a few moments where you went, huh? How does that happen? How have they given away that one? But overall, signs of life from Mammoth, you'd have to say. A really strong performance out of their bot lane. And let's see if they can continue going into game 2.